All right, ready when you are.
Okay. Well, it's 6 p.m. or 6:01, and I'm calling this meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustments to order. We're meeting here, it's March 19th, and we're in City Council chambers at 200 East McAlpine Street. Is there anybody here to address anything other than what's on the agenda? I don't see anybody. Okay, so we'll go right to item number 3. Conduct a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment and testimony regarding a zoning variance application to the City of Navasota by Mary Margaret Garcia. The variance application requests a 13-foot front building setback along the eastern property line, varying from Article 9, R3, high-density multi-dwelling unit, residential district, 25-foot front setback requirement for the construction of a covered front patio extension. The property affected is located at 905 Smith Street in Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, 77868, legally described as S3460, Davis Subdivision, Block 1, Lot C and D. And I'll call this public hearing to order at 6:03. Okay.
All right, Chairman ZBOA, just give you a quick background. This is a front patio extension. It is one of those scenarios where we're asking for approval. The structure has already been built. Just a little bit of background. Staff was working with the property owner on a separate project where the proposed front patio was discussed. Subsequently, it was constructed without a permit. I did speak with the property owner. There was some confusion, I think, between the contractor and the owner as to what exactly was the scope. And so unfortunately, it was built. However, since then, code enforcement opened a case. It was forwarded to municipal court, and municipal court gave the owner the option to come before the ZBOA to attempt to get this approved to allow the structure to remain. As outlined in your summary and packet, the encroachment is 12 feet into the 25-foot front setback. And so it would require a 13 front setback if approved. There's photos of the patio in your packet, as well as a really good hand-drawn site plan. I'll have to give Ms. Garcia some credit. She did, gentleman next to her. It's almost to scale, but it gives you a good reference point as to where the new addition is and where it's encroaching. And like I said, the property owner is here if y'all have any questions.
Ms. Garcia, would you like to come up to the podium and, is that your contractor?
No, it's my husband.
Okay. So is he the contractor? So you just give us your name and address?
It's Margaret Mary Addison now. It's still under Garcia. I hadn't turned in the paperwork, and it's 905 Smith, Navasota.
Okay. So you want to tell us about how you came to add on to the existing porch that's...
We had added on to the house. We knocked a existing room down to add on because my mother lives with us. So instead of having to totally relocate her, we just bumped out, took the room off, added on an apartment for us. And in doing so, we had the plans of a separate front door and the intentions of doing the whole porch across. And apparently he didn't have that in the original permits and stuff. We weren't aware, but we contracted it out hoping it was just a turnkey situation. And we didn't realize the porch wasn't, because through the whole process, we were inspected. I've seen people coming and going and different things. So we just assumed the porch was done under code. It's a really nice porch though. And it just kind of continued. He took a couple of the boards off of the existing and continued it. That's why you'll see the color difference in it. He took some off that way, just continued on.
Yeah, y'all took good photos here too.
Where you see that light at, that's the new front door. And without the extension, we would have a floating door there.
And you said there was a permit?
Apparently not for the porch. Everything else was, because we went through a contractor.
So,
And he didn't tell you
I didn't,
anything, if anything was wrong?
no.
and obviously the city didn't tell you that.
Not until we got the letter
So
from
I'm
the,
saying when they came out to inspect, they inspect the door, they inspect the power, I mean, the electric, the plumbing, whatever he was doing, they came out and certified that, right?
they certified that the whole addition end of it. I don't know if they came and seen the porch or not.
I see.
I think when they seen the porch is when they went, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, my understanding, and again, there was probably some miscommunication between you and the contractor,
Right.
but my understanding is the building inspector did notify the contractor at the time that if there was a plan to add on to that patio, they would have to request a
Pull another
variance.
permit or
And I
pull a
guess
variance.
it just, maybe it was just lost in the fray, but ultimately it was built. Now, one of the things too to clarify is if you notice on the site plan, there is an existing porch, as stated. You can see by the color difference that's been there at least since 2002. If we go back, or 2020 actually. And so on the layout, the variance reads that it's a 12-foot encroachment because we want to now take the opportunity to bring the whole structure into compliance. But in actuality, the only thing that further encroached was because the house is not square with the property line, the small little triangle, if you will, that's what's encroaching further. Staff has always interpreted the front setbacks to mean don't encroach any further, right? There's a lot of structures in the city that were here at the time of the zoning ordinance, and they're already within the 25-foot. And so we've always interpreted the existing structures as like the furthest you can go. So in this instance, I think when the inspector communicated to the contractor, meant is if you go any further than the existing porch, it'll need a variance. With the house not being square, it would have ended up with a pretty funny front patio.
Right, exactly.
And so the variance, if approved, would completely bring into conformance the whole encroachment, not just the tiny little sliver that went further.
Now, you sent out 69 letters. Did you get any responses?
I got one call from a property owner. They just wanted a clarification that it wasn't related to their property and their front patio. And I said, no, it's someone else. And that was the end of it. But no opposition or no support or anything like that.
Well,
There was one
I've had
question.
a couple people ask me, what is this letter I got? And we just explained to them. They're like, I'm not worried about your porch. Like, do I need to do anything? And I'm like, not that I'm aware of. I didn't realize they could come and say, yeah, we're okay with the porch, but I hate to bother people like that.
So is it covered now?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a big picture up here.
Now, one of the concerns I had, because I'm trying to do my due diligence sitting up here, is I went on the GIS and looked up like where the water lines were and gas lines and sewer lines because of the, easement issues. And it showed the sewer line going under the porch. So I went and talked to Lupe about that. And so you want to explain?
Yeah, so we have a really handy mapping tool on our website. You can see where the city's water, sewer, and gas lines are. Especially if you're wanting to build somewhere, you get a good idea. What I told Connie is those lines are, especially in the older part of town, they're not 100% accurate. They're really not 100% anywhere, but they're definitely off in older parts. So the sewer line does appear to run right under the patio, but I let Connie know that it's just a graphical mapping error, and that happens all the time. So we always say take the GIS map is helpful, but take it with a grain of salt. So, but yeah, no sewer or utility conflicts with the patio exist.
And you also showed me on the mapping that the original structure had been there for quite a while.
Yes, the original home, the home itself encroaches within the 25-foot front setback, and it's been there. We went all the way back to 2008, Google Street View. It was already there. And then at some point between 2008 and 2020, the smaller patio was built, and then now the extension.
Anybody else have any questions? And Ms. Garcia? Addison? Ms. Addison?
Yes.
If not, I'll close the public hearing at 6:11. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the variance request.
I second.
So we have a motion by the chair and a second by Mr. Phillips. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing there's no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on to number 4, consideration and possible action on the meeting minutes of the November 20th, 24 meeting as presented. I move to accept the minutes of the November 20th meeting.
I second it.
We have a motion by the chair, seconded by Ms. Vidato. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I just thought it was interesting that I got selected to be the vice chair and I wasn't even here.
That's what happened.
Well, there
I
was
guess
3
I
days.
found that out. I won't do that again.
Voluntold.
Well, I'm going to go on to move to item number 5, and that's adjourn. So we're adjourned at 6:13.
All right.
Loopy, I
Thank
want to
you.
ask you something. As many of the things that are out of variance actually in the world, we have
Thank you.
Good night, thank you.
from a financial standpoint, correct all of them. Man, they're everywhere. You said yourself.